I remember traveling the country teaching classes, and I would ask a police officer, like, why do you carry that piece of shit? Like, why do you carry that rifle? He's like, well, if I'm going to use it, I'm going to lose it. If it's used to be taken for evidence. What a terrible way to pick a duty rifle. I mean, if you're reaching for a carbine, something's going on. You know, you need that carbine. So hearing that, and this is from day one, if a Sons of Liberty rifle is used in a defensive, like a justified defense use of force, we're going to send you a replacement rifle while that thing sits in evidence. And we do that for law enforcement, and we do that for civilians. If our rifle is used to save a life, to save your life, to protect your home, protect the community, like, we're going to send you another a replacement rifle while it's gone.
You're listening to the Hot Wash by Born Primitive Tactical. I'm Bruno Fallon. I've spent my 4-decade career in some of the most elite units in the United States Special Operations community, where I learned that elite operators aren't made overnight. Forged through hardship, discipline, and relentless drive. In each episode, I sit down with the most accomplished and innovative leaders in special operations, industry, coaching, and athletes of all disciplines. Let's jump right in. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hot Wash by Born Primitive Tactical. I'm still Bruno. I've got some great guests here. I'm going to try and keep Mike laughing. So I've got Mike Mihalski, the co-founder and basically the man that has started out the Sons of Liberty gun work, and probably one of the biggest guys you'll ever talk about Second Amendment rights, which I love to hear. And I've got Nate Horvath, who is the CEO of the company and really taking them to the next level. So welcome, fellas.
Dude, Bruno, thanks for having us on, man.
Yeah, man. Love you guys. Nate, welcome.
Thanks, Bruno. Appreciate being here.
Hell yeah. So guys, let me tell the story of this gun. So I'm the skeptical guy. You know, everybody makes guns. And about a year ago, I get invited out to you guys to go shoot. And myself and a team guy that used to be at Naval Special Warfare get on these guns. Dust is blowing. It's kind of a shitty day. And it's like, yeah, let's just shoot another AR. Right? And I shoulder that thing up. And about 5 rounds into it, I stop and I look over at Kurt and I'm like, dude, what have these guys done? You guys literally have reinvented the platform to the point now where it's showing in law enforcement, in SOCOM. Everybody else has recognized that you've reinvented the wheel and have done an exceptional job. So fellas, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about what you've got out there, who it's going to and all that. But I'd like to start with you, Mike, and the story of it.
You don't know what you don't know, right? And so Sons of Liberty always built, I think, the most reliable rifles in the industry. I mean, just absolute workhorses. But the emphasis that we did on form factor, on weight, on materials, on some of the other things that it had to do, there was a huge evolution to get to the Mark I. But it was a personal evolution too. I mean, I learned more about guns probably in the last 2 years than I had in the last 10, simply because the demand for what the gun had to do was so high. And we listened to a lot of feedback, and we took feedback and implemented it, which is one of the things that's different about Sons, right? You know, we heard this over and over that the same feedback was given to a lot of places. So now the Mark I is a leap. It is not just an AR. I mean, cosmetically, if you look at it, you know, it looks like an AR, but internally, like form factor, the focus on weight, the materials, it was just a lot different.
You know, the thing that jumps out at me, just probably the number one thing that jumps out at me is when you fire the round, and I don't care what optic you're using, you don't come off target because of the minimized recoil. Your second engagement is near immediate.
Yeah, shootability was extremely high on the hierarchy of needs. And it is extremely challenging to build a gun that is combat reliable and highly shootable. Normally, if you want a gun to be super reliable, you have to just crank the gas up, right? You're just throwing gas at it. That was not going to fly with this. It had to be super shootable. And so what we did with different coatings, the way we looked at gassing, the way we looked at spring and mass, the way we just overall balanced the raceway, the things we did to that gun to achieve that was hard. And I think people take for granted what the gun has to do, right? If you're talking about OTB over the beach, if you're talking about sand, you're talking about -40, you're talking about a lot of less than optimal conditions, and it is a combat gun and it must work. As simple as that. There's no trophy for second place, right? And it has to be fast. That is not easy. And so about 2 years of working on it, I think we did okay.
I think you did great. We just did a content shoot where you guys built us out 5 Mark 1s, and I basically had some very high level ambassadors come in, and then we brought some of our females in that are also in federal positions and stuff like that. And we ended up having 10 people on the 5 guns over the course of a week, 105 degrees, dusty, dirty, nasty, shitty environment. We were doing vehicles. We were doing helicopters. We never had a single malfunction. We never had a gun go down. We never had anybody do anything but holy shit. So, I mean, you sold our crew pretty quick.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's objectively faster. You look at the split times, and people have thousands and thousands of drills with recorded split times. The gun is faster, and it works. It's reliable.
Right. Well, just a question for you guys. I mean, not to get too deep into the weeds, but I know you guys recently participated in and won a very prestigious SOCOM contract. And it's my understanding through my side of the community that you guys not only doubled down on how many guns you provided, but you're the only manufacturer that never had a malfunction in the entire test, is what I was told.
Yeah, I want to be invited back to the party, so I'm gonna be cautious on how I present this, but the gun did very, very well in performance, in environmentals, and all the other things that, like I said, form factor. We did our absolute best to give the end user exactly what they wanted.
No doubt. So Nate, how are you going to take what the end user wanted, and now it's obviously successful, and do what you've done with other companies? And where are we going with this? I'm curious.
No, it's exciting. We've got a lot of room to grow. Let me start with just a little bit of a backstory on kind of how Mike and I connected, which it reinforces a little bit of the things we're just talking about. So I've known Mike for a couple of years, and a little over a year ago, we were on the range together, and I was really proud of the gun I was showing and sharing Mike. And I was like, hey, Mike, check this out. And he's like, oh, yeah, this is really great. This is amazing. And he's like, let me show you my gun. Different platforms, a handgun versus, AR. So there's some differences there. Like, wow, okay. And he's like, aren't you doing that TAC games thing? Why don't you, get one of these? And so I've been shooting the rifle for about a year, and it was the same thing. Everything you're talking about, the lack of recoil, but coupled with tremendous reliability. So when I'm out and we put the gun in people's hands and they're like, oh, this shoots like a race gun. Well, it's not a race gun though. It will run a variety of ammunition. It will run in adverse conditions. It will run, you're shooting sideways against the dirt, et cetera. And so that is sort of how Mike, I think, lured me in, and sort of, he had set this hook that I didn't realize was being set. And then next thing you know, he's like, hey, you want to come, help me build this thing a little farther? And so I was already bought in, right? I had already shot the product. I knew what was going on there. Very excited because the brand has a lot of traction already in communities where it matters. Right. So the law enforcement community, where they already have 300, we're in over 300 departments now, already.
That's huge.
Since I joined, we've added close to 75. And as you mentioned, in the DoD space as well, having some really strong success. So where are we going from here? It's continue to grow, right? So interestingly, our brand awareness within the professional community is much higher than it is in the civilian community. So on the civilian side and the commercial side, it's really the gun nerds, it's the early adopters, it's the folks who have professional use cases that are aware of SUNS. But many people, the average Joe, right, which is 95% of the gun buying public, had never heard of us. And so we're going to take the brand and the reputation of the product that Mike has built and established, and we're going to enter into that broader market.
And there's something to be said about that. So two of the main reasons why we align so well between Born Primitive and you guys is the ethos of the brands. I think we stand for the same things. It's the Second Amendment, it's the country, it's the flag, it's the military, it's our law enforcement. But the other thing is that you guys, I explain this to people all the time. When I'm designing apparel, I am not competing against the lower brands and a lower market price. I'm competing against the premium brands. And to compete against the premium brands, it brings a little bit more cost in, but at the end of the day, you are getting the ultimate system, which is what I think you guys have done, is you've created a premium brand that is still very affordable in the market share right now, but you have that premium brand reliability.
Looking at the internet, which is a great place to showcase what you're doing, it's a terrible place sometimes for feedback,
Right.
Because some of the pushback that I saw on Mark 1 goes directly to what you're saying. Like when I set out to build that gun and to give people this end user exactly what they wanted, if I was going to lose, I was going to lose because it cost too much. I was damn sure not going to lose on performance, right? And when you're competing on performance and you're trying to do something next level, next gen, you're trying to really push the envelope. Yeah, you're not competing on price at that point. And I saw that, I can go out and buy a blah, blah, blah for this amount of money. I'm like, you absolutely can. I was like, but you cannot buy this, and I mean, if you look at what it is, again, you're not competing on price, you're competing purely on performance and quality, not cheap.
No, and it goes, and I think people in the professional industry get that,
there was, I just want to say that there's no pushback from the professional end users. There's no pushback from the people that know what they're looking at to the kind of person that wants like the highest performance rifle out there currently. Like we cannot make them fast enough. We are in a major backlog. Now, if you go read a thread on Reddit or something, that's not who we designed the gun for though.
No, but I think that's across the spectrum. The gun we have built right here that you built for us is a recce gun, and it's got a Night Force optic on it. There are certainly very capable optics out there at half the cost, but this gun system right here, your gun with that optic is a no-fail gun. That gun can be jumped 15,000 miles away from here at 25,000 feet onto a target at night in shitty conditions, and guess what it's going to do? It's going to perform. And at the end of the day, if you're in the professional business, that's what you have to have. And it's kind of interesting because a lot of the people out there want to have what the pros have, right? Like I want what they have and that's what they're rocking, but you're going to have to pay to have that. But if you look at the offset in what you pay for a gun like this and what you pay for a lesser gun 2 years from now, what is that other gun going to be doing? It's going to be in the back of your safe because it doesn't perform. So,
on top of that, one of the things that I think many people know, but don't know the extent of it is, and this is all Mike. And so kudos to him for this, the warranty we provide with the gun. It's so you come in as the CEO and as like kind of the, a little bit of a finance guy. You're like, oh shit, how are we going to do that? Because the warranty is, well, how you do it is you build the product right from the beginning, but it's a lifetime warranty. But it's not just for something that has a material defect or workmanship. But if you literally, and Mike prides himself on this, and I love him for it, if you shoot that barrel out, that's covered under warranty, right? We're going to replace it. We're probably going to put your name on the wall because great job.
You did it.
That's right. Because you actually shot enough to make it happen.
Right.
And so it's really incredible. And the way you can do that is when you believe in your product and it's fantastic.
I mean, gas rings, springs. I mean, we've replaced rifles for people that had a house fire, that their weapon was destroyed. People that had flooding and their weapons were destroyed. Things like that. So for us, for Sons of Liberty from day one, it's never been transactional. It's always been relationships. It's always been building a relationship with the end user, civilian, LE, mill. It doesn't matter. And we wanted that to be like forever. I remember traveling the country teaching classes, and I would ask a police officer, like, why do you carry that piece of shit? Like, why do you carry that rifle? He's like, well, if I'm going to use it, I'm going to lose it. If it's used to be taken for evidence. Like, what a terrible what a terrible way to pick a duty rifle. I mean, if you're reaching for a carbine, something's going on. You know, you need that carbine. So hearing that, and this is from day one, if a Sons Liberty rifle is used in a defensive, like a justified defense use of force, we're going to send you a replacement rifle while that thing sits in evidence. And we do that for law enforcement, and we do that for civilians. If our rifle is used to save a life, to save your life, to protect your home, protect the community, like, we're going to send you another a replacement rifle while it's gone. And there is an effect that is profound when you give that rifle back to somebody who had theirs taken, and there's like a bit of closure to it, like being made whole. Anybody that's ever carried a weapon knows what it's like to be away from that weapon.
No, that's amazing. And the first I learned about that was from some law enforcement officers that had actually used it as a duty gun, had it taken. And they even told me that you like nearly overnighted them a gun. Like they were back up to full up before they were even cleared to be back on duty. I was not aware until you told me, though, that it's also for civilian cases, which is incredible.
We've had civilian saves, and you know, that's you know what, if you're if you're a father protecting your home, or you're a high speed operator, you know, like, the most important rounds ever fired are the ones that you're firing. You know what I mean? Like, so to us, man, we're proud to do it. And again, it's a relationship thing. We don't want it to be transactional. Yeah. And the other cool thing too is that we replaced the rifle in the configuration that it was purchased. So if you bought it with a light, a laser, a can, optic, sling, whatever, and that's how it was taken, that's how we replace it, with all of the accessories. And I've reached out to some of our industry partners to like get in with us on that. And that's not always so easy. So we usually just do it ourselves.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, that's a statement of standing behind the product right there. And, I'm sure Nate loses sleep over it at night.
Well, I mean, I guess good news, bad news. I mean, it's just a state of the world that we're living in. But last year alone, I think we did north of 50 to law enforcement. You know, replacement rifles, and we're happy to do it. I mean, honestly, we love doing it because. Not because there was an officer in an OIS, but because, you know, we're supporting the community that we believe in.
That's right. I mean, that's the biggest thing right there, is that it is a community service. That's what they do. Anybody that's listened to this podcast has heard me talk about the relationship that the military has with law enforcement. You know, for us to have pressed overseas and be all in with your mind, your family has to be home safe, right? And we rely on law enforcement to do that. And it's a key thing to understand, that if you have a kid in school and there's school shootings and stuff, and you don't have that peace of mind, well, now you have that peace of mind. Well, you're also enabling that as well too, because if they are using a precision firearm, you know, now it comes down to, do they have the training? And that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. I mean, it gives me a great deal of pride, like San Antonio PD, Patrol and SWAT, Bexar County SWAT, you know, all the surrounding municipalities, all the surrounding counties, I mean, arson, like everywhere within San Antonio, that within like 100 miles is basically covered down by Sons Liberty rifle. And like, hey, those are the malls my kids go to. Those are the streets my family drives on. I'm proud to know that if things are going south, the Sons Liberty rifle showing up with a good guy behind it.
Right. I love it. I love it. So, Mike, talk about the ride. Like, you know, where you were, if I understand this correctly, you literally started this with like a single bench, and you know, like this was a concept more than anything. Just tell us about how fast you move forward, the move to get to the Mark I. How's that?
So Sons Liberty started in my garage, and I had taken an armorer's class from my mentor, a guy named Will Larson, and I started building guns in my garage. And my first customers were like team guys and Marines, like all my buddies from San Diego. And after shipping about 50 rifles out of my garage, I get a call from the ATF. Like, all right, dude, you have to get a license. This is your one warning. And that was it. And so I went out, and the co-founder of the company, I met him. He had some space. We started Sons Liberty officially with a license. That was 11 years ago. And now, you know, 14 countries later, all 50 states, over 300 some of my agencies, DoD contract, like it's been a wild ride. And what's crazy is we never had a marketing budget. Like for the first several years of the company, we had $0 to spend on marketing. The company grew through word of mouth, through peer-to-peer recommendation. And you cannot buy that. I don't care how much money you spend.
You can't.
You cannot buy
it. And it is the way to build a brand.
100%.
It is the best way to build a brand is to have the right people liking it and endorsing it and talking about it. We talk about that here all the time. Believe it or not, your story is very close to Bear's. Bear and Mal started in a garage 11 years ago with Born Primitive. And he was in the teams and he made the move to make the business. And you look at where Born Primitive is right now. I mean, Tactical's only been around for 2 years. That's what I was recruited to come in and do. But the way I've built the Tactical brand was not through paid advertising, not through Instagram. It was build the right product, get the right product in the hands of the right people, and go from there.
This is why, I mean, it kind of worked itself out. Nate's here because one of my strengths is knowing that I'm not the smartest guy in the room, like being totally cognizant of that, right? But I always wanted to err on the side of the product, make the best thing you possibly can, and that's all there is to it. And for a long time, margins were messed up, or we were operating before Nate got here, we were operating kind of like almost at a loss because of how much we had put into the product, and I just wanted to give it away, just take it, right? But starting out with a good product, and then bringing some business minds into it.
Well, two things. One, you're modest, because anybody who's met Mike or spent time with him knows he's incredibly smart.
Right.
So you might still be the smartest guy in the room, but we're privileged to be with you. The one thing I wanted to note on the rifle itself is one thing that's changed over time, and I admire what we've done on this, and particularly Mike and the team, is really went from starting in the early days. Right, Mike was assembling, the best products and components that he could find, and then over time, he started to sort of design engineer, things that are specific to Sons and to the Sons rifle. And the Mark I is really the manifestation of 11 years of that work. And when you look at that rifle, there are still a handful of components that maybe aren't quote unquote ours. They're designed with a partner for that particular gun in a particular use case. But the vast majority of it, from the barrels and the rifling within the barrels, which is really extraordinary itself, to the laser stippling on the handguard itself, which we're the only ones doing that, to the cable management channel down the middle of the pick rail, to the fencing. There's proprietary upper lower rail, you name it, on that rifle. That is the design that the team came up with, and then found really, fantastic and proven manufacturing partners to be able to produce it. So it's a very different today than it was 11 years ago. And the growth during that period of time has been great. And I'm super proud of the product that we're making.
But that's something I want to echo. That's something I'm legitimately proud of, because I've been teaching armorers classes all across the country for years. I've trained thousands of LE and civilian armorers. So I get a really good look of what's out there. I get a really good look of what's in the commercial market, law enforcement market. And I got to tell you, man, like, not to disparage any other companies, but like 95% of rifles on the commercial market would not meet the basic minimum standard for what a duty rifle should be. And one of the things I've seen is that over the years, companies that might have started out really solid, making really good products, as they scale and as they grow, that quality diminishes. They start chasing cost or margin over performance. I'm proud to say that we are building the best rifles that we've ever made. A Sons Liberty rifle today is better than the Sons Liberty rifle 3 years ago. Not because that rifle was bad, just because we are evolving and getting better and better and better. And that's hard to do. Maintaining quality over scale and growth is hard. And it really does take someone like the mindset of Nate, the mindset of myself, that we're not going to put anything out there that we wouldn't let our family defend their own home with, right? And so that the product never, if anything, next year's rifles be better than this year's, right? We're going in that trend. So that's something I'm very proud of, to have never once dipped on that for any reason. If this material, if there was a specific material that we use on a component, if that material was unavailable, we never used a substitute material. We would just be out of stock. I can tell you that is not the case for the rest of the industry. They will use substitute materials in those places, and then put some kind of marketing spin bullshit as to why. But really, it's because you didn't want to turn the cash faucet off. So like that batch of guns, I would say, is suspect. For us, we never did that, and we never will.
It's awesome. So I'll give you guys a statement from us. We're an apparel brand, and some people think that we should actually get into the media business because of how well our content goes.
Great.
The thing I'll tell you is this, is as an apparel brand, what I've elected to do, and this goes along with our ethos, is rather than prostitute us out and represent everybody, is to only represent the best brands that are out there. We have a specific helmet we work with. We have a specific plate carrier company we work with. And what we've done is we get them in. So we first of all, if we've worn it in combat overseas, it usually goes to the top of the line. Okay. But that doesn't mean other things aren't brought in. And then we do our own T&E of it. And we reach out to our brothers in some of the prime tier units and be like, have you used this? What are you doing? And we get the feedback. And then we select it, and then we rep it, and we use it. I have been told by multiple businesses it would be business suicide as an apparel brand for me to lock into a single gun. That I need to be able to shoot any gun in our content to spread the wealth out there. And what move did I make? The only AR platform that we are shooting is the Sons of Liberty gun, because we are hooked on the ethos of the brand, the quality of the brand, and the user of the brand. So to us, it's funny, the business suicide thing, I'm like, sign me up again. To be affiliated with you guys and to rep your brand, to me makes a statement that we are a premium brand, we are very selective, and we only want quality. And it was amazing. Again, I had people that had never fired your weapons until we got out there in Arizona, and they all looked at me, and we had shot other brands and a lot of other content, and it was not a jam. Not an issue. Everything's hitting steel. I had some weapons that some people never had a warm up on, and it was just hand them that, and they're down and they're hitting steel and they're punching the lights out of it, and they're just looking at me and they're like, "How is this possible?" That's what you guys have built. So hats off to you.
Well, we really appreciate the partnership, Bruno, and I think you're right. For us, as we think about who do we want to work with, alignment of mission and values is so important. And further to that, the people, right? The kind of the people behind the brand, who are they? What are they doing? Can you trust them? Do you want to be partners with them? Are you proud? Would you walk side by side with them? And we 100% feel that way about everybody in the Born Primitive ecosystem.
And we can go ahead. And I want to come back to the guns because that's why we're here. But I do want to talk about one of the partnerships. By now, everybody, it's been released and we're talking about it, but we're doing a range day on September 4th down in Moyock, North Carolina. It is at the Kinsella's Training Center now, which is rebranded as CTC. We wanted to help them make it a little more sexy because the other one was just too long to say. Plus, it'll be a really cool logo on a shirt, which is what we do, right? Yeah. But Sons of Liberty Gunwork and Born Primitive Tactical are the presenting sponsors to this range day. Folks, this is going to be huge. Our list, as of now, is well north of 60 of the best vendors that are out there of all, even our competitors are going to be there because we welcome open competition, actually. But it's going to be free to the exhibitors. It's going to be free to the patrons. It's going to be open only to law enforcement, first responders, government, and military. You get a chance to come down there and live fire or go through the vendor tents and see the best state-of-the-art gear that's out there. We're going to feed you. We're going to do a little social hour stuff with you guys and talk to you. But September 4th, Moyock, North Carolina, come see us. And when you come to the Prime Bay, which is Bay number 2, and you see the big, huge Sons of Liberty Gunwork banner, that's home station. That's where it starts. And then if you find your way in the pro shop, you might find some Born Primitive Tactical apparel.
And Bruno, this is going to grow over time, right? This year really is, I think, intentionally going to be a little bit smaller.
It is
than where this thing will ultimately grow into.
So we've talked about the vision, but let's let the cat out of the bag. So we have had less than 3 months to plan this. CTC actually came to us for some help, and we went down there and we looked at their range structure and systems. We also look at the proximity. A lot of these events are held out in the West Coast, Texas and stuff like that. There's not a prime event on the East Coast, and we're going to take that and we're going to land it. So this year we're starting off with just the range day and the expo, which will be a hell of a range day and an expo. But next year we're going to add a 2-day SWAT competition, and this is going to be a national level SWAT competition. And some of the people we're bringing in to help us design it and put it together, I assure you it's not going to be what you're seeing down in Orlando for the last 30 years and stuff like that. Teams are going to come out and get tested. It's going to be a combination of fitness, shooting, and tactics. It's not going to be just a knockoff of the tactical games. And I will tell you that the vendors that we have involved, the prizes that we have involved, and the setup, that the teams that are going to compete are going to have a great time. And the feedback we've already gotten, because we're so close to the teams, is we honestly think that in year one, we're going to have to tell some people that we're full, which we're really excited about. And again, we will be the 2 sponsors running this, and we'll be welcoming other sponsors in, especially when it comes to the prize categories and stuff like that. But stand by. We're going to create a national level SWAT competition that you guys are going to love. And then year 3, we're going to add an additional day to that. We're going to do a corporate day. And what our intent is going to be is corporations are going to be able to send individuals, and they're going to run and gun with some operators and have a really good, fun day and do some tactical training. And every single dime that is contributed by those corporations is going to be given back to foundations that either support law enforcement or military. So it's 100% a give back day, and it's a way for corporations to get some people down there and have some fun with guys like us. So you ready?
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great ride. I'm looking forward to the 4th this year and then the years to come.
Yes, sir. And I think it's something else I'll mention to you guys. I know you compete in the tactical games. I've got a thoroughbred number of athletes there that we're moving over to your platforms because we want them to be in the one spot in the podium. Yeah. But it's one of those that we're looking hard at the tactical games. And as of this last weekend, Born Primitive Tactical just became the title sponsor of the Patriot Games down in Florida.
Congratulations, Sal. That's awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's huge.
And that's something that I will talk offline with you guys about, but I think you guys should have a piece of that because their ethos of the Patriot Games and what they do down there, and it's a Florida-based operation, but man, I'll tell you, seeing those folks down there running gun and everything, I think they'd look really good with some Mark 1s. So you guys ready for it?
Make it happen.
Hell yeah. Hey, this is Bruno, and you've been watching the Hot Wash by Born Primitive Tactical. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our podcast, and thanks for watching. Now back to the podcast. So back to you, big fella. So you have now created this weapon system that is competing with everybody, and you've got the right ethos. What's up in that big brain of yours? What's coming next?
The next few years is a true renaissance for small arms. It just is. I think the next couple of years are going to go up there with the invention of rifling, the repeating arms, the cartridge, in terms of like milestones of small arms technology. And what's possible, what's already possible, we're already doing it. I mean, the lethality of these systems is unreal. And right now there's very, very few companies that are messing with it, but we know that it's going to grow. It's gonna be an exciting time for small arms. Again, the gun industry has historically always been about 30 years behind every other industry in terms of material science. It just has, right? And then now with additive manufacturing, now with borrowing material sciences from aerospace and other tech, and then the demands of the weapons going up. Like, okay, every time you reach a milestone, the goal is like, okay, well, how far can we push it past that? And I can honestly say there are very, very few companies currently right now that are on that leading edge. I'm proud to say that we're one of them. There is no textbook to study from. We're having to write the book as we go. But we know that like this is going to catch on and start to go. I mean, I would imagine that ammunition looks very different in the next 3 to 5 years than what people can picture right now.
Let me jump in there and give you some fun on that. So I joined the service in 81 and went straight into the Ranger Battalion. And we were in that transition period post-Vietnam. And the whole mission of JSOC at that point in time was to develop a CT force. The guys were the right mindset. The tactics honestly originated with LA SWAT, and then the military got a hold of them and really amped them up and took them to a different level of lethality. But the gear was the issue. I can tell you when we transitioned, so in 77, GSG-9 did a hostage rescue in Mogadishu on an airliner, and they shot a certain female 17 times with an MP5, and she lived. And there was a lot of feedback on, we're running with MP5s, we're running with this, we're running with that. At one point in time, one of the tiers was running with M3 grease guns. Okay. So that's when basically the Colt Commando, the cut down Car 15 came into play. And people were trying to learn how to use CQB with it. Let me tell you, we went through almost the entire 80s focusing on the gun and shooting 55 grain ball ammo and not looking at ammunition whatsoever. Then we started getting in the 90s and you started looking at 63 grain. It wasn't until around 9/11 when 77 grain and 70 grain and different ammunitions and better bores and better rifles were thought of. You're exactly what you're saying is it was all put on the shooter at that point in time and not on the game. And now you've got the weapon systems and you've got ammo. The shooter's catching up. So I agree with you. I think that technology is going to take it to the next level.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like the Mark I is built from the ground up to incorporate all of the other enablers, right? It's a true systems level approach. It wasn't an afterthought. It was designed from the ground up to incorporate all the visual augmentation systems, which absolutely increase operator lethality. And then you have, like I said, ammunition advancements. Some of the stuff's open source. I mean, a federal release like the 7 Backcountry, which commercially you didn't see a lot of enthusiasm for. And I think it's because the average commercial shooter has no idea what they're looking at, but they are looking at the future, right? You're looking at the ability to make guns very, very short and very, very light and still have that type of terminal performance that you would typically need out of a larger gun. And so, I mean, it's exciting to see what's happening and just knowing what's coming down the pipe. And then we're going to keep chasing that. I mean, we're like, once you get that taste of a little bit of victory or success, or you have the confidence you've proven to yourself that you can do something that hasn't been done, man, it makes you hungry. It makes you want to go keep chasing that and pushing and pushing. And that's where we're at right now. Luckily I have Nate to help keep the train on the track so I don't go too crazy. And then, you know, I'm in my lab, AKA like our basement, you know, just working on the next stuff. And we have a lot of cool industry partners that are also thinking the same way. It's going to be an exciting couple of years. For sure.
It is. We work closely with Huxworth Suppressors. And
they're solid. They're a good industry partner of ours.
Great industry partner of ours, yours. Their capability and the thing I love about their can, you know, everybody, we did the initial thing right off the bat with what's the length, what's the weight, what's the audible capability of it. But what I love is their technology where all the flow goes away from the operator and not back towards the operator, which is pioneering.
No, it's huge. I mean, like, it's not just for, like, I mean, you have to remember these guys are breathing in a ton of heavy metals, right? And if you're shooting a lot inside, indoors, kill houses, things like that, the amount of stuff, and you're talking about thousands and thousands of rounds and years of this repetitive training, they don't realize what that does to the shooter, you know? So on just the health side of it, health for the operator, it's a huge deal. Then as the armorer, as the guy building the weapon, the fact that you have virtually no carrier speed increase on the gun, we don't have to get exotic and gassing or trying to thread some kind of needle. Like, the gun operates almost as if the can was not there.
Right.
You know, to some degree, it's almost robbing gas, and like the can is increasing the shootability of the platform. This is, like I said, a systems level approach. And again, what they're doing with materials, what they're doing with their own manufacturing processes and stuff, I'll let them tell their own story, but it's very, very cool.
It's very, very cool. And I'm going to have Vinny in here next week from Hucks, actually.
That's a smart guy. I like Vinny.
So Vinny, I'm very jealous of Vinny. Vinny's got the coolest title of anybody I've ever heard. He is the director of lethality.
The director of lethality.
I mean, how do you beat that on a business card?
Yeah,
right? But he's like you, Mike. You two in a room together, all the gun guys would be just, wanting to hear you two talk forever. So
he's a smart guy, and I've had a lot of fun chopping it up with that dude on ideas. It's interesting. Like the professional market, the hierarchy of needs for them is a lot different than say like the commercial market. Like a lot of people are hyper focused on decibel reduction. Where on the professional side, that is not super high. Don't get me wrong, Hucks cans are quiet; they're very quiet, but that's not super high on what you want. I mean, flash is a huge one, right? Is it tough? Well, you could have the quietest, coolest can in the world, but if it's laying 50 feet down range, it's not going to do you much good. Point of impact shift, weight, so on and so forth. So there's a lot that goes into it, a lot more than even I ever appreciated before I started working on some of these programs. Really what it takes to make equipment for that level of work. It is very different. It is not intuitive. I mean, like someone has to kind of sit you down and explain, I'm like, hey man, does it really matter? Like, can you get 6 more ounces out of it? I'm like, does it really matter? Like, have you ever swam 2 miles to a target? I'm like, no. Okay, I'll get back to work.
Right. Absolutely. And that's why, when you walk in, whether it's a gun store or you walk into Shields in Texas, and your gun is sitting next to one that's half the cost, that's what you're getting. It's no different than when a pair of my op assault pants are sitting next to a $79 pair of another brand's pants. At the end of the day, user gets what they get, and our pair of pants is going to deliver on the mission. That's what we build it for.
Yep.
So, the event we just had at Real Street Tactical, that was super fun because you had a warehouse full of supercars, Lamborghinis, all kinds of stuff, right? These are people who understand that a lot of times what you're buying is the last 1% of performance. That's the last 0.5% of performance, right? And that's what it comes down to in anything that you're buying, whatever that is. Getting to the 95% is easy. That last 5%, the last 1%, that is where you're really duking it out. And that's where the magic happens, right? That's where like the advancements go. So yeah, if you're into super high performance, then that's where we're competing.
I love it. So let me ask you a question. And if I'm getting into something you don't want to talk about, but the gun's primarily built in 5.56 NATO caliber. Are you guys looking 300 Blackout? You looking in any of those directions right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The 300 Blackout we're going to be probably starting to show that, like around the September timeframe, I think, or my premature is. Are they going to edit this one out? I see Nate sweating over there.
So here's the thing. So Mike and I are both optimists, and but Mike's a bigger optimist than I am. So I'm trying to be the yin to his yang, or vice versa. So, but yes, 300 Blackout is in the works. It's in development. We're making great strides, and. When will we have something for the public? Certainly before the end of the year.
So this is why Nate's here. This is what I meant by the train keeping it on the track.
Should he just say what Mike meant to say?
Yeah. So I'll listen, man. I would imagine like if you're a chef and you prepare some kind of crazy dish that you're really proud of, like you can't wait to just show it to people, right? And that's very much how it feels.
But he's got to make 100 of them.
Well, here's part of that.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean.
But part of the why is because Mike has been working on this thing, for over a year, right? So it's not like hey, he just started working on 300 Blackout. It's been in the works for a long time.
I get it. I literally at the last trade show we did, I've got a 300 Blackout system now, and I saw Vinny had their new 300 Blackout can, and I grabbed it and I'm looking at it. He's like, "This is one of one." They're in the same boat.
Yeah,
they're making something newer, better, and all that. And I'm like, well, when number 2 is out, I want to be on the list.
Yeah, we've put a lot of work in this. I mean, years. I kind of fell off the planet to just focus on this stuff. And what the Mark I is not just a rifle; it's an entire suite of technology, right? So, yeah, there are other calibers that are within that suite of technology. There are other applications for it, other than something might be super maritime specific, something might be more specific to a different environment or more general use case. But we were developing that thing. All of the trajectories that you go down, while they might not have been useful for this specific program, that tech that we developed is still there, and so we're excited to finally unleash it. Some of it's pretty wild. Some of what we were able to achieve is pretty crazy, and I know that there's nothing out there quite like it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is not a secret because you've shared it in other venues, but some of the coatings that what went into this in terms of the R&D process and how many different coatings were tried and experimented with and tested and many of them which were did one thing really, really well, failed in another venue or for another use case. And so just iterative process of trying something that hadn't been done before with different technology, whether it's on the material science side of it or whether it's the coating applied to a particular material, together, the combination of which ended up in a place where some of the stuff for the SOCOM contract, like the barrel material in that particular gun is a little different. And I think we blew up the CNC machine trying to figure it out.
But this is where you guys are winning because you're not in the, hey, it's good enough, go to market. You're in the, we're not there, or it's this application. And that's why I think you're winning. And that's why I think in my community, you're the buzz because of what you've accomplished.
Well, we didn't suffer from paralysis by analysis. The entire reason I think we did well was because we were able to rapidly fail. We tried a lot of things that did not work. We destroyed a lot of materials. We did a lot of crazy stuff. And you learn quickly. You learn from failure. If you could fail, 1,000 times in a row very, very fast, you come out of that learning quite a bit. And that's what it was. And so there's some, like I said, there's some neat stuff that's coming out there. Guns that are able to operate on very little gas and still be reliable simply because there's no friction. There's little things like that are pretty neat. So I'll before Nate chokes me out on giving away too much, it's going to be an exciting couple of years.
That's awesome. So as he is the mad scientist putting this together and everything, how do you, as the businessman putting it out there, how do you contain yourself and wait for, I've got the final product, then you go into mass production? How that's got to be
it's very making one of something,
right,
is very different than making 100, which is very different than making 1,000, which is very different than making 1,000 a month. And so that scaling from, okay, we built something really amazing. Now, can we repeat that? That's where the manufacturing comes into it. It's so important and it's so overlooked because there are a lot of people that will kind of custom put together a really amazing, this 1 or 10 of these.
Right.
But then can you scale that and do it consistently and repeatedly at that same level of quality? That's really where things get, that's to me one of the more challenging, elements of the business. Is something that I enjoy and we've been working hard at. And then, so that's on building these things, right? So making sure we can meet that demand and not diminish, quality. We need to, every day we're trying to build the best rifles we've ever made.
So are you punching out walls where you guys are at or going to facilities or how's that?
Yeah, we're actively looking at a new spot. So we'll knock wood. We'll be moving within the next 6 months.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Classic movie line.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
I love it. Hey, we're in the same business. We've been building our new building for a while, but we finally got everything past the city. And Bear made a very strategic move recently. He elected to go with the #1 does big job builders facility. Versus, shopping the contractors and all that. And the reason for that being is that we've waited long enough. Our growth is so big, and we have so many buildings here in Virginia Beach, and we want to put it all under one roof. So we are actually breaking ground here next month, and our builder's telling us 8 to 12 months, and it's a monster. 500 feet long, 3 stories high. And it's definitely going to, I like the term from the military, continuity of effort. When we're able to put our warehouse staff, our marketing staff, everybody under one door, I think that's going to change the game for us, because right now we're very spread out, and even the places we have, we're overgrown in. So I understand the challenges you have there, but the one thing you're not doing, and I love it, is the same thing we're not going to do. We're not going to compromise the product for growth.
Right.
So just burst at the seams until then. What about people? How's your growing people going? I mean, for me, that's the toughest thing right now, is the right people. So
I tell this story, and I'll tell it again. It's a cool story. One time we put out a job listing, like on social media, and it was for 2 armorer positions. We had 2,500 applicants. 2,500 applicants, yeah. Which is kind of neat. What people don't know is that we don't hire on resume. We hire on chemistry. Like, I can teach you how to build a rifle. That's what I do. I travel around teaching people how to make rifles, but I can't teach you how to give a shit. And I can't teach you how to, to care about the cause, or to look at the Sons of Liberty mission. It's bigger than just a rifle company. I mean, to me, it's a cause. It means something. It stands for something. So the team that we have around us is, I believe, the best team that we've ever had. And it really is cemented by the right chemistry. The give a shit level is, through the roof. When I was working on the Mark I project, the guys that would stay late jamming mags with me, or working on stuff 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, like months and months sometimes, of like just out in the Texas heat shooting, test firing. Some of us getting sick from lead poisoning, from that kind of stuff. There's no wage you can pay somebody to go do that, man. Like, you have to believe in the mission. Of course, dude, bringing Nate on, I feel like we got the first round draft pick, in the NFL, right? Like bringing someone with his level of experience that doesn't come around very often. Someone that with an understanding of the gun industry, understanding of finance, who has successfully built a massive company. Sean Murphy, guy came from years and years, like building up Night Force, went to KGM. Now he's our new VP of sales. I mean, the guy's an absolute rock star. Scott Peterson, he just got out of the AMU for our director of special programs. So like some of the new programs that we're working on, you need someone with that level of sophisticated palate,
right?
Because again, you are going after you are incrementally improving even just that last 1%. Well, you need someone who understands that.
That's right.
And so, he's a go-getter. I mean, just our whole team, our whole team really is just animals, man.
No, that's awesome. And I don't think I've had 2,500 people apply on any position I've advertised yet. So
guys wanted to. So that's the thing. There's like people who have not heard about Sons. The people that have, I mean, it's an army. It's an army of like-minded people that care. I mean, that are involved in their communities. Like whenever our phones blow up, whenever there was like flooding down in Texas, like, hey, what is Sons going to do? Are y'all going to help? I mean, we took helicopters into Harvey. Whenever that's the kind of in the network that we built around that. There's no advertising or pamphlet or something that could communicate.
It's the ethos.
It's the ethos. And
right?
People want to be a part of it. And I love that. And I hope, like, my number one goal, Nate and I talked about this before he came, before he agreed to come on, was to never lose that. Like, while we're going after more professional end users, and yeah, we are, adding a bit of sophistication to like what we've done. I mean, I built the company with a cell phone and a sense of humor, right? But you can't ever lose that thing. It's lightning in the bottle, and it's authentic, and you can't replicate it. You can't can it. You can't just, so, and luckily, like, Nate got it. I mean, he truly understands the the vibe and the chemistry and the personality of the brand, that now it's a matter of amplifying it. Now we just want more people to hear about it instead of, watering it down.
Yeah, but it all starts with people. Bruno, as you mentioned, is the right people, right?
Agreed.
There are a lot of folks who want to come work at Born Primitive Tactical. There are a lot of folks who want to come work at Sons of Liberty, or they think they want to come work, but then they don't maybe not really understand. Well, what is that? There's actually work involved. Right? And
you're so right on that I'll tell you. And this is one of the things I hold ground on is as the VP of both tactical and outdoor, I have final say on all hires. I have final say on all ambassadors. We're not bringing an ambassador into my circle because of Instagram followers. We're bringing an ambassador into my circle because of the professional circle that person operates. And it's one of those where I am all about the human being. I give you a quick example. When I was hiring an operations manager position, we had an insane amount of applicants, and I put that on HR to cut it down to a manageable amount of what actually fit the job description. And when I looked at it, it was an amazing amount of team guys, SWAT people, this, that, and the other. I cut that down to 11 people, and I interviewed all 11. And to be honest with you, the person that we hired, which was a home run, if you'd have told me I was going to hire this person based on the resume and based on the amount of other people out there, I'd said, no fucking way. But this person to this day was one of my best hires ever because it was the person, it was the human being and gets it. And I think that people, Special Forces used to have a shirt when they're trying to educate their leadership. It's the people, not the hardware. I agree with that. I agree that if you have the ethos you guys have and you have the right people with that ethos, you're going to win. It's when you start to give up either of those. And, you should never walk in. I will never have an end of year counseling with somebody and go, yeah, your performance was good enough. It's not happening, but no, I agree with that. And I think that, the three things you guys have going, and I agree with exactly what you just said, is you got the product, you've got the ethos, you've got the people. Now the direction is get the message out there. And that's one of the purposes of this platform is we have the probably the biggest audience that we have that are not in the military tactical guys is the tactical athlete. We, because of Born Primitive as a brand, and if you look at what these people are doing in competition, we can talk about, we're building a gun for a friend of mine. And what are we going with? We're going with your gun and a Night Force optic on it and a Hux can because I want the best.
The cheat sheet, the easy button, the cheat sheet, man.
Well, it's one of those where I don't care if it's combat. I don't care if it's a tactical game. I don't care if it's a 911 call where a first responder's pulling that carbine he has not pulled out since his last range day. You definitely don't want the system you rely on to fail you. So that's to me where any chiefs, we have a lot of very senior law enforcement that listen to this podcast. Any chiefs, you've heard me tell this to your face. The difference in spending on the right gear is the same difference as hiring the right person. At the end of the day, when that officer rolls up and your reputation as a department is what he does, actions on there, you got to give him the right equipment to start. And you guys are definitely the right equipment. So I love it. To us, it's like, I just can't wait till we're out shooting again. Matter of fact, I get some really good pictures of you and I shooting.
That's awesome. I need to get those, man.
Yeah. Well, you guys actually, you guys have a link of.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Wait till the videos are coming. Unfortunately, the people that are doing our post-production don't understand that Sons of Liberty only wants pictures with rifles in it. So all the pistols and all the vehicles and all that, if the rifle's not prevalent, that's not going to need to go in the video. So we're going to make you a nice melt. It'll be a good length video that we'll make sure Sean has, and you guys can just pull as much gold as you want out of it. But, and there's still actually more photos coming in, is my understanding. So that link will stay perpetual. As we put them more in there, that link just continues to fill.
It's quite a quite a departure from my cell phone and a sense of humor. Like this is actual like Hollywood level, like production quality stuff. It's amazing. I got to see it. I wish you could have been there in Arizona. That was amazing, dude.
We are known for our content. The thing that we do is we want it to be, one, not pretending that we're a unit doing a hostage rescue. I want it clear that it's ambassadors and people of the brand. But number two, the mission profile is going to be as close as it gets. And we have the right people doing the right things, and we have fun doing it.
Which reminds me, Nate, we need a Blackhawk. Yeah. Sons of Liberty needs a Blackhawk.
That might be a 2027 budget item.
I will tell you, if we want to do some Blackhawk shoots, we know a couple guys. That's all I'll say there. Or vehicles. We have a couple more content shoots on the books. One of them is going to be pretty fun. The same guy that built all our vehicles for the last one.
Dude, that was rad.
We're going to do a cold weather shoot, and he's building me some tracked vehicles and snow machines that are going to be off the hook. And I think showing people that these guns can shoot in that freaking badass snow would be something we'll be doing as well too. So you can count on it.
I feel bad. I was cheating on the Mark I a little bit with that minigun. That was awesome.
The smile on the minigun, it's quite there. Oh, you know what I want to talk about? You guys have a capability that I love, and it's sitting right here in front of me as a reminder. Talk about your Cerakote and the way your shop does it, because I remember this was the conversation. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a Jungle Tiger guy. When I came in the military, we were wearing Jungle Tigers, and I'm like, I want you to build me the ultimate recce gun in Jungle Tiger, and look what showed up. But you guys,
that thing's gorgeous.
Oh, it's beyond gorgeous. Beautiful. That's Bruno's gun. I tell everybody else there, don't touch my gun. But talk about your Cerakote capability. I mean, you guys,
I think we have probably. I'll brag on my guys. I think we have one of the best Cerakote shops in under our roof. It's an internal process. But what's the thing about Sons of Liberty is everybody there is an armorer. The guy that answers the phone had to go through armorer training. Like the guys that enter orders into the system, they had to go through armorer training. Well, same thing with the Cerakote. When you send rifles off to Cerakote or you order Cerakote guns, there are tolerance issues. You have to tear the weapon completely down. You have to rebuild the weapon. I can honestly say that, like, when people send us a gun to Cerakote, they're getting back a better gun because it was painted and rebuilt by the best armorers in the country. Sons of Liberty does have the best armorers in the country. I'll say that hands down. Okay, unapologetically. And those are the guys Cerakoting your gun. So there is a lot of attention spent on, like I said, tolerances, and then prep work, which is the key to doing anything right, is the solid prep work. And then it's going back together and being built by real talent. And even when people send us guns that aren't ours, we go in there and we'll see, like, this is a really shitty spring. This is a bad D10. This is a bad mag button. I mean, we could just tell it, and then we just put the right stuff back in there, and they get back a rifle. They might not even know, but like they got back a better rifle than they sent in. I'll tell you that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but no, it's a really cool capability to have. We have very talented guys, and again, their rifles are painted and built by the best armorers in the country. Yeah,
and if you've never had a gun that's not built with attention to detail, I have a AOR1 Desert Digi Colt that came back and it never fired the same. It was just everything was a little too thick, it drove me nuts. I kept the gun for years because of the aesthetic look of it, because it was just so badass end to end, but it never shot the same. So there's something to be said about.
Pretty durable too. I mean, that one was amazing job on that gun for over a year ago, and it's getting beat up, dropped, kicked in the dust, etc. Still looks great.
Yeah, and Cerakote's covered for life too.
So if somebody gets a gun from you, they're getting an investment.
No, it's for life. It's forever. It's like the mob. It's forever.
I love it. So what else out there, guys? What else can you talk about that's for public consumption that you can think about?
Well, one thing that's happening just on the people side of things, and we're going to announce this shortly. So Sean, might get, he's too far away to kick me. So I guess I'm free to speak, but we're putting together an advisory board, something that I've done in the past, and some of the folks from our advisory board who I've worked with in previous ventures are coming on board. General Scott Miller retired.
All-star.
I love Scott very well from the
Scott
podcast.
Very well. I've had him on a cast, and that is a grade A addition.
So he'll be coming on the advisory board. Classmate of his from West Point, a guy named Tommy Morgan, who West Point guy, went on to, he's underachiever, Harvard Business School, Goldman Sachs, you name it, is coming on board to help as well. And then a couple of other folks that I can't talk about right now because they're, still finalizing a few things, but we're going to have this advisory board in place. It'll just kind of help us strategically when we think about, big picture strategy questions and items and feedback and networking. It's something I found to be really valuable for us in the past, and it's something we're excited about at Sons.
I think it's something we are going to eventually look at here too. I had a very good friend, Clay Hutmacher, who was in here. He's on Black Rifle's board, and Clay was telling me some of the benefits of the board. And once I listened to that, and especially that outside optic looking in and giving you that outside evaluation, but with a lot of experience,
yep.
I immediately sat down with Bear and Tony and was like, we probably need to look at this. So I think it's a great move, especially the way you guys are scaling. I mean,
bringing brains, experience, contacts, networks. I mean, that's, you don't know what you don't know. And getting that kind of like professional perspective on things, man. I mean, I learned something new from Nate, every day at least, and like, and I mean, I try to do it. You try to keep learning, keep growing.
Right.
And so bringing more brains in the room is not a bad thing. Another thing that I'm very excited about that Sons of Liberty has not historically really pursued in the past is to really build a robust brick and mortar dealer network, like strategic dealers that we're putting a lot of emphasis on. We want to give them a lot of attention, hosting events at their places, training their staffs up through armorers courses, and then getting them the coolest and best stuff that we make. Like I said, just really building more personal relationships with these individual dealers, because that is the backbone of an armed republic, man. At the end of the day, the majority of guns sold in this country is a person walking into their local gun store and seeing, touching, feeling, looking at the product, talking to the guy behind the counter, getting some knowledge on that thing, and to best support the armed republic, building up that relationship with individual dealers is critical. And that's the other thing too. Not to get philosophical or something, but the gun industry is kind of like the last bastion of our grandparents' capitalism, right? There is no super concentration of wealth. You don't have these huge conglomerates. For the most part, the gun market are individual gun stores, not necessarily, it's not Walmart, it's these individual stores that have probably been an anchor in that city for generations, right? And so, like, we want to support that. We want to make sure that we have that. And we were always kind of weak on that in the past. This is something that we're doing now, and we've onboarded some amazing dealers, dude. And you can just tell, like, when you walk in, the vibe is different. And that relationship, that the kind of dealers that we're working with, they have earned their place in their region on customer service, knowledge, good selection, that kind of thing. It's they're premium spots.
No, and I think it's exactly what you're saying. I think that the gun dealer, my experience in taking somebody like we mentioned Freedom, for example, if I want somebody to get into guns, I usually take them to a place that allows you to rent 3 or 4 different guns, take them on the range,
Yep.
see what they're comfortable with, see what they can shoot, and go from there, and then make a recommendation. You can't do that in mail order and stuff like that. And I think also that the climate of the country right now is, we've always been a pro-gun climate. That's who we are as a nation.
As a nation, yeah.
But right now, I think that it's a little more acceptable and palatable with our current regime that, hey, fucking guns are actually okay, especially in the hands of the right people.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, through COVID and all of the other things happening in that time period, I'll tell you what, the if you were to draw a caricature of what you thought a gun owner looked like, it's
Right.
very different today than it was 10 years ago. the gun owning demographic is all over the board. It's not bound by politics or any other type of demographic. I mean, it's everywhere. I think gun control is less popular today than it's ever been. At the same time, you have to still be vigilant. There's the stuff that keeps me up at night isn't always like gun legislation. The stuff that keeps me up is banking and insurance and logistics and delivery, things like that. What will FedEx ever stop delivering guns? Like that's the stuff I think about. But anyways, it's a different tangent. I'll save that for another podcast.
No, you're spot on. And the one thing, just going back to where I was just at the Patriot Games, one of the surprising factors to me is how many women. Yep. I know a lot of women have been carrying handguns forever, but the actual tactical games athlete now is 50-50. There's as many women as there are men. And matter of fact, we have one of my ambassadors, Janae. She's the only 2-time reigning tactical games champion back-to-back, and she's going for year 3 right now. I mean, just to give our listeners an idea, she shoots 20,000+ rounds a year to maintain that competition level. So, and it's funny because Dan Horner will tell you to go compete at the 3-gun level, you better be above 80,000 rounds a year. So, I mean, it's one of those where it's surprisingly amazing to me when I go to these different cultures, how many people are into different guns now that unless you're out there and see it, you don't realize it.
Very early on, our desire to support the tactical games was like, it was such an easy choice because it was, again, to our mission of advocacy for the Second Amendment, it was bringing so many new people into shooting. You had like these amazing athletes and CrossFitters and stuff that like now you needed a gun to compete. Man, anything that we can do to bring cool and good people into the Second Amendment culture, and sign me up. And the games is a perfect vehicle for that.
Well, I think that they do a bunch of things really well, but 2 things in particular and related to this. They not only serve as a little bit of a proving ground, just in terms of fitness and marksmanship. Okay, no tactics, right? I mean, it's not, and they're not designed for that.
Correct.
But maybe 50% of their competitors are law enforcement, military, veterans, right? And they're out there and they're trying to stay sharp and make sure that they're fit and make sure that their marksmanship is on point. And it's a lot of fun as well. And then the other half are folks, in many cases, that this is their introduction into the firearms industry. And so they're coming in and they're growing that market. And there are people who otherwise might not have considered gun ownership, et cetera, but they're athletes, they're competitors, they're women, they range. And so the thing I love about the tactical games, it's a very opening, it's very inclusive, not to use an overused word, but they're building a community, right? They're growing the industry.
They absolutely are. And the number one question I'm getting right now, email, DM, text, whatever, is recommendations on firearms for tactical games competitors.
Yeah.
They're all coming to me and they're like, what do you think? What should I be using? Blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of interesting because we even have on the athlete side here, we have some very elite CrossFit athletes that are now in the tactical games. One of them wanted me to throw some sponsorship money at him. And I said, you hire a shooting coach and I'll pay your coach. Yeah. But I don't care how fit you are. Yeah. Because you're not going to go win unless you can shoot at the tactical games. Because the penalties.
Yeah.
We have one athlete. Katie is probably one of the most fit women on earth, and I'm waiting to find out if she did yesterday. But day one, she was number 1. She dominated everything, and she texted me last night. And all the shootings tomorrow. Well, she lives in a location in Colorado. There's not a range within 90 minutes of her, so that. The girl can't get the round she needs, and she knows it, and she knows to be elite in that sport, she's going to have to shoot. So it's one of those, my big thing is I can see from where I'm at is firearms recommendations and shooting coaches.
That's right.
Because people need to learn how to shoot. I ended up doing that at the Patriot Games as a couple of our athletes were there. We're competing with their Malos, by the way.
That's awesome.
So they both had their dogs, and
That's cool.
My only comment to either of them was on shooting things and working on that and stuff like that. So I agree 100%. I agree. It's not only an entry level, but I think it grows into a graduate level because as they start seeing the podium, that's when they just start to, well, I can only get so much more fit. Maybe I better get better equipment.
That's right.
Right. And I know where they can come now, right? Don't we?
I'll tell you what, that 14.5 Mark 1, that thing is awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good place to start.
Yep. Well, we're building one for a competitor that we know. So firefighter. And we're excited about that because one of the things I love seeing the women outcompete the men. It's like, hey, that chick just beat you type thing. Cause I am that guy.
Yep.
But there are some thoroughbreds out there. There are some athletes. I just watched at the Patriot Games. This woman just dominated a head-to-head event against another man. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And she could shoot too. So, pretty interesting thing. What else, guys? What else you want to talk about? Anything else we have brewing coming up? Anything we can think of?
Well,
what do we want to put together? What do we want to do? That's a big question.
just the beginning, right? This is just the beginning of a partnership and a relationship that I think is gonna grow and prosper for many years to come. September 4th is going to be fantastic.
September 4th would be great. That's going to grow into a monster, and then I'll sit with Sean here and we'll talk about some things we have on the table. And definitely open to what you guys have. The biggest thing for me in relationships is, what are you guys doing that we can help with too? Yeah. That's one of those things that you guys might have some stuff out there that we can really open the door on. I will tell you that I think we're going to be a really, really good avenue for you guys in the whole tactical games market here soon because we're attacking that. That's something I want awesome. A big piece of. Yep. And I think that I think it's the next great sport, to be honest with you. I really do. I think as you see things like CrossFit dropping off. I think the two biggest sports right now that are coming up is high rocks and tactical games. And we actually have the tactical games CEO and owner coming out here in about 2 weeks. We're going to put him on the podcast, have dinner, and see where we can go.
Did you ever see that any of the footage from that international SWAT comp in Dubai?
Yes.
Dude, they turned that into a legit spectator sport with like really good announcers and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, we should try that. We should actually get like announcers. Like
here we go. 2026.
2026.
2026. We'll have it. And the whole one thing we're really good at Instagram Live while you're on there on a range and the guys and gals are doing it. That'll be fun. The one thing I can tell you on the SWAT competition that we are going to be different than everybody is I assure you that if you send a team that is just fit and can just shoot, but cannot tactically clear a structure properly with penalties and stuff like that, they're not going to win. This is going to be the whole concept of everything. And there's going to be some team building stuff. There's going to be the contingencies that we like to execute in the military community that make you a thinking person's game. So it'll be fun, and I look forward to it. From us, I'll tell you that we love the partnership and that love having you guys here. I think that what we'll do is, as we get a little further down the road, is we'll reconvene once the 300 Blackout's out, once we've had our range day, and we'll talk about what's coming next and what kind of content shoots we're going to do. But until that moment, loved having you guys on board, and I've got a few things I want to give you guys that our tradition here. That's why I made sure you did not just have a carry-on bag. So we're partnered with some brands that we like to give away podcast gifts. They're like you. They're very supporting brands, and they're one of one with us. So Norm Hooten, and I think you guys might all know Norm. Mm-hmm. So this whiskey's not public yet. This is the new bourbon, bottle and bond, that you can pre-order right now that hasn't been delivered. But we're going to give you guys a bottle share. Just remember the FAA rule. You can't break it on the airplane right now. Yeah. But I have had a war planning session last Friday night with my whole team where we talked about 2026 over a bottle of this. And I'll tell you guys are going to love it. So from Norm Hooten and Hooten Young and myself, you guys want you to take that home and enjoy that. Dude, I think you're going to love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You want me to hold on to that for you?
Or I probably should take it for safekeeping.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you guys are familiar with Montana Knife.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
of course.
Of course.
With Josh Smith. I've got a knife for both of you guys there. I'll tell you, Josh is a great American. Josh is doing exactly what we're doing as brands. He is building. He's growing. Matter of fact, their new building, if you look on Instagram, is amazing. They're in front of all of us in their new structure. But
Dude, that's awesome.
that's a blade there that I think you guys are going to love. And I'll tell you, if you've never heard Josh's story about him being the first ever 19-year-old master bladesmith, it's pretty crazy. And he's just a great human being, and he's got our ethos.
I have wanted one of these for a long time, dude. This is awesome.
Dude, he's a great man. And we have a lot of fun things coming with them. And then the last thing, military tradition, you got to have your own coin. The podcast has its own coin. So for me to you guys, my brother.
Thank you, man.
Sir.
Thank you, Bruno.
No, enjoyed having you guys. Any closing comments before we sign off?
I think I'm looking forward to the future, man. I think we have a lot of cool stuff, a lot of good synergies between what we're doing. I know September is going to be a lot of fun, and, count me in next time y'all do that crazy ass content stuff y'all do, because
you got to bring this one.
Yeah, you have to come check it out. It's a little different.
It's different. It's fun. It's shooting. It's everything.
Oh, twist my arm. You want me to come out and shoot out of a helicopter and run? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll love it. I think you'll love it. Nate, any closing comments?
Just thank you. Really appreciate the partnership. Appreciate the opportunity to come on the podcast today. Excited about what we're doing in the future. And for everyone out there, stay tuned. You're going to see a lot coming from both Born Primitive and Sons of Liberty.
Yeah, so not exactly what you said. For everybody, thanks for tuning in. But I'll tell you right now, Sons of Liberty Gunwork, if you haven't got the opportunity to get out and shoot, especially this Mark I, you need to go take it for a ride. Folks, it's one of those dream things where you want to drive a Lambo, you want to shoot this gun. It is made with precision. It's made to last. The right people are shooting it. We stand behind it. And it was a pleasure having you guys here today. And there's going to be a lot of good things coming from the two brands in the future. So have a good day. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Hot Wash by Born Primitive Tactical. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow us at Born Primitive Tactical. I'll see you next time.